All right, everybody. Marcus Hain back here. The course is Poker Strategy, how I make $5,000 plus per month playing cash games. This is section 3, still in the basic strategy section, and this is lesson 3, bluffing strategies. So a lot of people love to know how to bluff because they just find it so thrilling and such a great time. So I definitely want to share some information on different strategies that you can use to bluff and what ways that bluffing can make you very profitable. So to give you guys an overview, every player loves to bluff. There isn't anything quite as awesome as pushing your opponent out of a hand while using a successful bluff. Unfortunately, the idea of bluffing is oftentimes abused and overused by beginner players, causing them to lose a lot of money. So a lot of beginners fall in love with the idea of bluffing and they end up losing a lot of money, which is great for the experts and the professionals like myself, where I can make a lot of money off of beginners who just love to bluff, and I can go in calling mediocre hands and making money off of them. So using the bluffing strategy shared in this lesson is going to help you master the art of bluffing and bluffing in the right situations and the right times. So why should you bluff in poker? Well, bluffing for one allows you to take down pots that you might not have normally won. So if you don't have a pair and you don't hit anything on the board, but you feel like your opponent's in a weak situation and you can take the pot, it's a great time to bluff because you're not going to win any other way. So bluffing also adds a level of unpredictability to your game so that your opponents cannot tell if you're weak or strong in a hand. So if you're someone who's bluffing every now and then, it's very hard to have a good read on you and to know whether you're telling the truth or if you do have the hand. So it's going to help you win a lot more money in the long haul and in the long run. How to pull off a successful bluff. So number one, it's impossible to be successful at bluffing every single time. I can show you how to spot prime opportunities to bluff from my own experiences at the table. So there's two criteria that need to be fulfilled in order for you to successfully bluff. Number one, your last action in the hand should have been very strong. So that means the last time you showed your hand to the table, let's say you had top pair, top kicker, or a very good hand that allowed you to win and made your reputation on the table very credible. Number two, your opponent's last action in the hand should have been something weak. So they should have lost in their previous hand, got caught bluffing, been pushed out of the hand, bullied, whatever the case was, they somehow looked rather weak. So successful bluffing continued. So if the story of your hand does not line up properly, your bluff will always fall apart. So if your opponent's playing weak and you're playing strong, your image is a great one, making it a lot easier for you to get away with bluffing. On the opposite spectrum, it's a terrible idea for you to bluff when your opponents think you're a weaker opponent based on your most recent play. Another important note that you want to keep in mind is that having position over your opponents will also increase the likelihood of your bluffs and also make you a lot more successful. So you can see whether or not your opponents are weak because you can see if they decided to check, raise, or if they might possibly be bluffing on their own. So now the most important question, how often should you bluff? You don't need to bluff as often as you think you need to. Bluffing is a great asset to have, but only at the right time and in the right situation. If you end up bluffing too often, you will get caught and you will lose a lot of credibility and a ton of chips. If you force the bluff, it's not going to be profitable. So don't seek plays to bluff. Let the bluffing opportunities come to you. And like I mentioned, if all those criteria don't add up and you don't have position and you haven't looked strong in the past hands and stuff like that, you shouldn't be bluffing because it's a complete waste of time. When should you bluff? So it's better to bluff at smaller pots than bigger ones. When there's a bigger pot, people are more invested and have more equity in that pot, so they're more interested in throwing all their chips in. Bluffing on the flop is extremely effective. That's another tip that you guys should keep in mind. Another one that you guys should keep in mind is avoid bluffing on the river. If someone's gone all the way to the river, more likely than not, they're going to play it out and stick it through because one card doesn't usually make that much of a difference. And lastly, only bluff when you truly feel confident that your opponent will end up folding. So as you play the game, you really get a good feel of it and you get some gut feelings and some instinct on the table. Use that instinct to your advantage so you can really figure out and tell and see when is the best time to bluff. So that's it for this section on bluffing strategies. I'll see you guys in the next one.